Good morning, good afternoon. Welcome back to Sick Conversations. It's been about 5 months, 6 months. We lost our co-founder, our main, I would refer to her as our leading force, Josie Cicel. Continuing her legacy, we're back. And we're joined by Papa Okurut, that's what we refer to you. So just introduce yourself. All of us know you as Papa Okurut, but give us a brief history of your life. I know you have a really great family. You have 2 children. Sure. 3?
4.
4.
Yeah.
4 children. Yeah, give us a brief history.
Maybe before that, sorry about the loss of our friend Josie, who started all this. And I just got to learn about it just after she had died. And I'm appreciative of all the work that you're doing. And briefly about myself, I'm Okurut Anthony Biao. Yeah. I just turned 60, as I communicated to you people some time ago on our social media, WhatsApp. And it has been a journey with sickle cell. Actually, I was diagnosed when I was just 6 months. And God has seen me through, I would say.
You mentioned that you have a stepsister who has sickle cell?
Half sister.
Half sister who has sickle cell.
Yeah.
And she doesn't live in Uganda.
She's based in Sweden.
In Sweden. How does the condition affect her in that country? Because London, UK, and other countries in Europe, it hasn't been very conducive to managing pain for me. So how does she manage it?
I've not tried to find out how she gets along. I think she should be the best person to tell us. Yeah.
Were you close with her?
Being a half sister, we grew up separately. My late father had 3 or 4 wives. And each of them,
I know how it works.
Each of them would be with their children. So like, I wouldn't know much about her. I just got to meet her even just a few years ago. She has a brother, my half brother, and they are all based in Sweden with their mother.
Makes a big difference.
Yeah.
In those countries, for sure.
However, in my family, we had also a sister. Unfortunately, she passed away in 2012. She was 44. Yeah.
I lost a brother in 2012 also to sickle cell, which is really unfortunate. He was 7 years younger than you. Going off that, how have you adapted to living with sickle cell in Uganda? Because in our group, you're the oldest person and you have so much advice for all of us, which is really inspirational. How have you dealt with it?
I would say that I've adapted to it. But one thing, that is pride. And that has continued even when I got married. I just had my 21st anniversary.
It's a long time.
Yeah. So when I was young, my parents took good care of me. And the prime thing was to keep in touch with the medics, the doctors, and so on. Some of the doctors became even family friends. So if I had any problem, they would be quick to see that I get the necessary attention and so on. So, and then when I got married, good enough, I would thank God very much, because He gave me a loving and caring wife who has also continued to look after me.
She has supported you very well.
Very well. In fact, whenever I'm not feeling well, she can know. She's very quick to ensure that I'm comfortable and maybe going to the hospital, like that, all those things. She's up a bit about it. Yeah.
It's not part of the questions we planned, but so you married your wife. Did you know before? Like, did you test? Did she test? Sorry, because obviously you know your condition.
No, my wife didn't test. I met my wife, but being someone with sickle cell, I was aware that we could easily have children with sickle cell. So among the tests that we did before we married, one was HIV, and then the other one was the electrophoresis test for sickle cell.
Did you?
So I had a friend who was a lab technician who I could always go whenever I'm not feeling well, and I told him to test her for that electrophoresis test.
She was negative.
Yeah, she was negative. However, in her family, she has, I think, a cousin who has some children with sickle cell. So it was like fortunate that she was AA, and it was like good to go.
How old are your children now?
The eldest makes 27 this year.
Oh, wow.
She's an early childhood teacher. The next one has just turned 20, just a few days ago.
This month?
Yeah, this month. She's doing her A-levels. Now the third born will make 18 in October. He's a boy. And then the last born turns 12 in December. Second and third born, they are candidates. That girl there, she's called Tabitha. She will be sitting her A-levels. And then Philip will be doing his O-level.
How did you manage to balance your physical health and your family's health, obviously, and mental health, I guess, because mental is a big part of it. Your oldest child is 27.
She makes 27.
27.
Makes 27.
Okay. She's my age. How did you deal with all of that?
One thing that I've been blessed about is that my children are not ill in any way. And I'm also aware that they being AS, that one gives them some kind of protection from malaria. The challenge that I face is not with health, but rather with like educating them and that kind of thing. Yeah.
Your advice in the Warriors Club has always gone like beyond education.
Yeah.
Like you seem like, you know, a very technical, when it comes to medication, you know, like the very technical effects and side effects that come with learning over time. Did you study it? How did you learn this much?
Now with that one, first of all, it goes to my background. My education is more of technical. I'm qualified in the building and architectural industry.
It's interesting.
Yeah. And I've been gainfully employed for the last 30 years with an architectural firm. So of late, we are having little projects. And then when I was young, I had the aspirations of taking to medicine. But when I did my O-level,
being the boss,
I did better in mathematics. So I switched to the engineering side. I tried let me do mathematics. I dropped biology because I had an upset that I got a grade 6, rather than done better in mathematics. And that's how I ended up in the technical field. So I tend to look at things in a technical way. Maybe it's medication, I try to go into the background, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that's how I've gained that kind of knowledge. And actually, incidentally, when I did my O-level, the best subject was actually chemistry.
Yeah. I tried to study biochem in university, but it wasn't for me. It was too technical.
Yeah, I understand.
But I've learned to, over time, because we share the same condition, so I've learned how to relate to other people.
Yeah.
It's not always chemistry, and it's not always biology. A lot of times it's like mental health. So do you have any tips, regards towards mental health among people with sickle cell?
I wouldn't say that I have any tips on that regarding mental health. I've read a lot about mental health. And I tend to keep the information within myself. I don't try to push around that I know the information. Actually, when I was invited to meet Benjamin, our friend, it was more or less to encourage him, emotional support, because it felt like the sister who took me there, my friend, felt that he was low after having lost his sister. And that's how we managed to.
Very low.
Yeah. That's how we managed to when I try to encourage him.
So what do you think about like people being offered therapy sessions or group therapy sessions? Because it's one thing we've been trying to initiate in the foundation. I know warriors are very reluctant to share their feelings and their upbringing and their history, basically. Do you think it's a good idea to provide that support?
It's a good idea, and whereas others may be reserved, for me I'm open about it. And one challenge that I've faced, not only with other fellow warriors, as you say, that they tend to be reserved, and when you try to give them maybe some advice, some of them they'll tell you that this one doesn't work for me, that we're different. But for me, at the bottom of the line, I see that what's good for the goose is also good for the gander. But they don't see it that way. So I give them the advice, and either they take it
or they don't.
And if they don't take it, I also don't get really offended.
So when you first okay, wait, let me go back. When did you first hear about sickle cell? When did you first, obviously you have it, but outside your family, did you ever hear anything, concerns, worries?
When I was young, my parents told me the condition, because I was all the time getting sick, and whereas my sister who follows me was okay. And then the one I lost, the sister I lost in 2012, she did not manifest sickle cell until she was 12. So it was like I was the only one who is not normal. But now when I grew up, around 12 years, I decided now to do my own kind of reading about sickle cell. So I learned again more information, not from my parents, but from other sources. So I started getting the knowledge about that. For example, one of the earliest things I learned about was not taking iron.
Yeah, yeah, that's crucial.
That was
That's
actually
very
when I
crucial.
was just about 13 years old. Yeah. Another information I started getting even aside from them later on. Yeah.
After,
Yeah. As I was
until
growing
now,
up.
you still
And
keep
then-
in touch with them?
Hmm?
You still keep in touch with them?
Yeah, I stayed with my parents until when I was around, when I separated from them, I was around 27.
Really?
I started staying alone.
Mm.
I was single, but I said, let me stay alone.
It's a very...
Yeah. Then again, maybe another thing, when I was young, others could be negative about the sickness. They would say, people with sickle cell, they don't reach adulthood. But I do not believe that.
Yeah, it's a very old statistic. They say one out of every 8 people die from sickle cell, and I don't think it's 1 out of 8. I think it's 4 out of 8. When they're born, they never make it.
I remember when I was hospitalized in 79, Missionary Hospital in my home district.
Missionary Hospital. That's
Mwala Hospital. It's a missionary hospital. So I had a case of osteomyelitis on my leg and I had an operation. And they opened it up all because the wound had affected the bone.
yeah.
So now I happened to be on a side room and it was next to a children's ward. So the children are dying so much. So I asked one of the nurses, why are the children dying so much? And she was saying that sickle cell and that kind of thing. So the mortality is high.
It's very
especially
high.
with the pediatric section there.
The estimate in America is 10% of 10% of the population has sickle cell.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because their population is like 300 and something.
Yeah.
Which means like 30 to 40 million
Yeah.
have sickle cell, which is crazy to me.
Yeah.
It's not only an African problem, clearly.
No.
So how did you meet your wife? How did that work out? Wait, how long have you guys been married?
21.
21.
We got married in 2002, December.
I can only guess like she's the most supporting person ever.
Yeah, she's very, very supportive, very loving and very supportive. Not only in my condition, but also with the children. She's a very strong woman. I really owe much to her. How we met Molly was just a neighbor. We stayed in a certain community in Kampala called Chebango. So she happened to be a neighbor. But she saw that I was, sometimes I would get ill and she could give support. Maybe whatever I needed, she could give support. And that kind of thing.
Yeah. She's a good friend.
By the time I was staying with some cousin of mine, who could help me with the housework and so on. So she was basically a neighbor. And like when my cousins are not there, maybe they've gone to school, she would be able to help. And then again, another thing, we are of the same faith. Yeah.
It makes a big difference.
Yeah.
It makes a big difference.
So that's how I got to meet Molly. And she was staying with her sister. And she was also helping her sister with chores at home, looking after her 2 children. So basically that is it. And then we decided to take it to another level. We did the usual formalities, Kwanjula, Kuchala.
Yeah. What I'm hearing is you have a very strong connection with God.
Yeah.
You pray a lot.
Yeah.
You do.
We are Jehovah's Witnesses.
Okay. Can you expand on that? Like what you do as Jehovah's Witnesses? Exclamation. I'm not very religious myself. I've been through a lot of pain, which I cannot bring to terms with what my purpose is according to God. So how have you got embraced that, worked with it, and demonstrated it?
Before I go into that, have you ever met one of Jehovah's Witnesses?
I have. It wasn't a pleasant interaction.
Basically, as I told you, were Christians, though also misunderstood by the mainstream, would I say, Christians. Yeah. But our ministry revolves around God's kingdom. And we usually reach out to people preaching about God's kingdom. Yeah. That is the crux of it. And following the pattern that Christ left, we try to carry the good news about God's kingdom to people. For example, if I not come here today, I would be in a ministry, going to people's homes and talking to them about God, about something from the Bible. Yeah. And currently, even on a campaign of inviting them for commemoration of Christ's death, which is tomorrow. Our lives revolve around our worship. We have what we call the midweek meetings. Depending on which congregation you are, it can be either Tuesday, it can be Wednesday, it can be Thursday or Friday. And then we have the weekend meetings, which usually not Sunday.
It sounds very complicated. So that's like 3 days out of a week that you're committed to that.
The meetings that we have are just twice in a week.
Twice
the midweek meeting and then the weekend meeting. It's usually on Sunday. However, the ministry, it's even during when you are free.
3 times a week.
If I had opportunity, I would have maybe have talked to my friends here.
Yeah.
I think I already talked to you something about it as I was coming in. So even maybe when you're at work, maybe when you're traveling, you can get opportunity to talk to someone.
Yeah.
So that's how it is.
I have this really random question. I haven't asked anyone about it. I think you're the first person I want to ask. Okay, I mean, I understand that you're a warrior, like all of us. What got you into advocacy?
I really want to share my experience with many. And I try to help them. Even I and my wife, we've met other warriors. And what has worked for me, we try to share with them. But as I mentioned earlier on, you may try to help someone, and they're like, they're
not ready.
They have their mindset, so there are those challenges. Yeah. And sometimes we've had disappointing situations. You know, someone who is a warrior, you try to help them, and then at the end of the day, we've lost a person.
Yeah.
And then, but if only you had maybe listened, I've had such situation.
In September, a friend called me. Their daughter had a crisis. They were in Fort Portal, and the doctor wouldn't see the child. The child was like 3 years, until they got a bribe of like 150K, and the child died there on the spot. And they're trying to collect money. So I'm wondering, like, you've been in this game a long time. How could we make a difference? Because that hurt me a lot. Like you can't go to Mulago or any referral hospital and bring people to see
someone's life ends like that. And one thing I've realized, which I look back and I feel maybe somehow, if I'd taken the path of medicine, I have a feeling that maybe I will be in a better position to help. But I did not take that path of medicine, a technical field. And sometimes when you try to talk to people about their conditions and so on, some of them, they look at it as you are not talking on the point as a doctor. So they tend to look down on what you tell them.
Yeah.
And yet at the same time, I've also learned through experience that sometimes our doctors also are not knowledgeable about certain things about sickle cell.
I was very young when I took an interest into my condition. So from like 4, I used to love the sun. When the sun would go away, I'd feel like I'm having a crisis. Like I had interpreted a comic to my life. So my whole life until, I don't know, like 20s, I thought I had something special. I mean, special can be debated. But it was never the same. And it took me a really long time to get over it. And I'm just wondering how people in Kampala get over it. Because I wasn't here. I never lived in Kampala. So growing up, you're our mentor right now. You're the oldest person in the group. How is it dealing with the stigma and I don't know, everything else?
Talking about stigma, it's something you cannot wish aside. It's something that you have to cope with. I'm faced stigma myself, even at a tender age. When I was like in primary 6, 5, and so on. And it gets worse when you get an attack, crisis, and then thereafter even lose friends. Somebody who is be close to you feels that maybe the sickness can catch them. So you even lose friends, you're no longer close to them, that kind of thing. It has happened to me many times.
Me too.
Yeah. So now, with stigma, what I decided to do, even from an early age, is not to listen to what people say. I remember when I was young, my mother told me that, a schoolmate told me that you can't live to adulthood. I told my mother, and my mother just told me from the face that that boy there is deceived, he's lying. That's not true. You see that kind of thing. And funny enough, the young man, when I met him again later on, when I was even an adult, I met that same person. And had some engagement with the college where I was. And I was like, I didn't bring up the matter to him, but it was like to ensure him or to assure him that you can live to adulthood. I didn't talk about it then. So, even one reason why I didn't get a mate early, you get someone who is prospective. The moment they learn that you have sickle cell, that one is the end of it.
It changes everything.
It changes everything. So I got married when I was 38.
That's a good age.
That's when that's when I got to Molly.
That's a good age for me, at least.
And for her, she was like, whether you have sickle cell, there is no problem. It was different from what I'd experienced before. So as I was growing up, one of the things I would bring to a prospective person is that I have sickle cell. And then how they take it, you either see them abandoning or leaving, and then you know that this is not someone meant to.
This has been a great topic in the group chat, Warriors Club. So how do you approach meeting someone? Like you said, you tell them off front, like off the bat.
It's better to tell them even before, otherwise you're going to get disappointed.
There are so many people in the group that they're not comfortable with sharing their condition.
At the end of the day, it will hurt you, but it's better if you get someone whom you think may be a suitable mate. It's better to make things clear at the very beginning. And how they take it, that's how you realize that this is a person I can get along with. So the bottom line is I don't allow stigma to dominate. I just get along. Even when I go to medical personnel, even when I'm maybe at work, I just tell them I'm sickle cell person.
This is what it is, and
even when I work, the doctor, my boss knows it up to today. Even he has brought some people that, but he is managing sickle cell.
Have you ever been fired for your condition? Have you ever been fired for your condition?
No. I remember one time I was having the leg ulcers.
Yeah. And
for over about 2 months, I was not working. But my boss understood.
Really?
Yeah. You know those leg ulcers, they can be there, and you're supposed to have bed rest all the time, and you're on antibiotics. But later on I learned some other way around it. You take zinc with antibiotics.
A good friend of ours has been struggling with ulcers for like 5 months.
Yeah. I think I met one of them in our group. I told him to take zinc with antibiotics. You just see it going down slowly by slowly. If you keep the wound clean and the daily dressing, it should be able to heal. If you are working in an organization whereby they want you all the time there, then you are away for 1 month, 2 months, 5 months, you lose the job. But me, I was able to work.
A month is long, even like 2 weeks, and you lose the job.
You lose the job.
Yeah.
But my boss is understanding. I've worked there over 30 years, since 90. It's just that of late, we don't have projects, so I've gone into, what I say, hibernation.
It seems like it's becoming a public topic. But I'm guessing like 30 years ago, no one cared. So how did you navigate working, relationships? Because I think the discourse about sickle cell only happened in the past 5 years, in Uganda at least. But there's people like you who have been surviving for, I'm half your age.
Yeah, by the time I joined that farm, I was 26. And I remember about 3 months later on, I got a crisis. And it took me about a week to recover. And I started bringing that, I brought to the attention of my employers. And they understood. And on average, I would get a crisis, maybe a serious one, maybe once in a year. And whenever I could get sick, I would just explain it to them. They would understand.
Once a year, like hydroxyurea, folic?
Hydroxyurea, I was introduced to hydroxyurea in 2015, but it didn't work with me.
So it's a no.
I had some side effect on my feet, and I just understood it. Yeah.
How about folic?
Folic, I used to take it when I was young. But nowadays it is more of intermittent. I usually go on and wife prefers with greens. A lot of greens, I eat a lot of greens. things like dodo, things like buka, things like bobe. Those are the things that
Beetroot?
Beetroot, I don't like it plain. Usually I like it mixed with mango, passion fruit.
Yeah, that's a good combination.
So I and my wife have had even other things that we do that helps a lot.
Yeah.
Maybe I could just briefly narrate. In 2015, I was actually I was dying actually. I was in Mulago.
In terms of like, what do you mean you're dying?
Okay, now this now goes back to my faith. Jehovah's Witnesses do not take transfusions. Are you aware of that? Don't take transfusion. And I also don't take transfusion. So when I was in Mulago in 2015, I checked in with the HB of about 4. I said transfusion. I told them no. There's what we call the Health Liaison Committee of Jehovah's Witnesses. They have some regimes that they can recommend. But you have to do it in a referral hospital.
Yeah, every day, 8 hours a day.
So now I had to check in Mulago with that
Cynthia?
that prescription.
Oh, okay.
But the doctors did not welcome it. It was a erythropoietin with iron sucrose. My fellow brothers bought the drugs, but they were not ready, they were reluctant to administer it. So the HB went down further to 1.4.
You know that's almost dead.
Yeah. Now the brother, one of our, what I call the leaders of the congregation, he contacted some brother in Germany. He said, that one is a dead man.
Yeah.
So now, whereas these other doctors were refusing to administer this, an intern, I've never got in touch with her again. She said, let me administer this drug. I told my wife, let me administer this drug, but at your own risk. And my wife consented. So they injected me 5 jabs on the left thigh and 5 jabs on it was 20,000 units.
I have cancer. What do you mean they're injecting you?
That medicine was supposed to be injected on the thighs.
But you don't have cancer.
Not cancer. That erythropoietin.
Okay,
with iron sucrose.
Yes.
So 5 jabs on one thigh and then 5 on the other. Altogether 20,000 units.
Okay.
That's the only medication that I took from now. And then when they said that they said that the HB is 1.4, they said, okay, now you sign that you don't want the transfusion. I got the document, I signed. The moment I signed like this, they said that discharge him. They said that. They told my wife, if he's okay in 1 week's time, he'll come back for review.
1.4 and 0 are so close.
But before I left Mulago, another brother who was also a fellow faithmate said, let me do a separate test to confirm this HB. Just in case the medics are black.
Must have been like 4.
Yeah.
4.
Forward.
No, I'm guessing the HB test must have been like 4.
Not 4. I have even the documentation. I will send it to you one time. The one I signed, it was 1.4. So now when the other faith mate of mine, my fellow brother, checked, he was also a medical assistant, a lab technician. He checked and said it is indeed 1.4. He also got scared. So he told another sister who was also a medical personnel there. He told her that you cancel Molly, you expect the worst. So we left Mulago.
As in, like, you're going to not survive the night?
Yeah. So we left Mulago. I was just on a wheelchair. On a stretcher. But as I was leaving Mulago, Another brother came and said, if I'd known this, you wouldn't have reached this situation. Let me come to your home and I make for you a blood booster from fruit leaves. So my wife had no option. She just said, okay, you come. And the next day I was still alive. So they made that concoction from guava, mango, jackfruit.
My mom got it from your wife. I was taking it for a long time.
I don't know. Have you ever met my wife before?
I haven't personally, but in the group chat, the caregivers group chat, she got information about that specific treatment.
So I took that. It's a long process the way they do it, and it's actually rigorous in making it. Because fruit leaves, boil it for a long time, and then leave it to cool, and then add milk, and then add the egg yolk, indigenous chicken, and then I took that thing for just about a week. I started walking. 1 week I went back to Mlango. Those doctors were shocked. They couldn't believe that this man who was dying is even walking. So when people tell me the things, when I tell them and they refuse, I sometimes wonder, because I took that, and of course we wouldn't want to undermine or ignore the erythropoietin. Because I understand it works slowly. It takes about 2 weeks.
What's so interesting is I've spent a lot of time researching natural remedies, herbal remedies. And Nigeria has so many which work. So many. Not hydroxyurea, not folic acid, just from, I can't say the plant, but from their garden. And it works. It works so much. So one medication I was on for about 3 months is called Neprisan. They applied to the CDC in America to get it approved, and I don't know, racism, it wasn't allowed, but it has tremendous benefits.
Is it with regard to blood boosting or just sickling?
It's an anti-sickling.
Anti-sickling.
And I can't remember the plant. I can't remember the plant right now off the top of my head, but it made a difference. And you champion natural remedies, herbal remedies a lot. Like when I see in the group chat, you're like, don't take painkillers, take this and that.
More or less, I don't have painkillers that are herbal. But what has helped me with pain management is something which I have not even shared in the group.
Tell us.
It's not something that I shared. Actually, when I get a crisis, the first thing I can do is maybe I could go for ibuprofen or maybe diclofenac. But later on, when we start doing things with my wife, I usually tell her that we do the massage. I and my wife, we do hot water massage.
Interesting.
So now what happens is that, when you get a crisis, there's that period of time where there's like a transition whereby the pangs kind of subside, but then the affected parts remain.
But you know how bad it's going to get.
Yes, maybe it can be the legs, the knees, or maybe some thighs or back and that kind of thing. So now what we do, we just boil water. When I boil water, we usually put in a jerrycan, like 5-liter jerrycan. When I put the water there, we get a basin. So she puts water in the basin, and then she gets a towel or a t-shirt. She has to be cotton. So what she does, she dips it in the hot water and just lifts it up and shakes it a bit to make it cool a bit. and then she ringes it. And then the affected part is smeared with the lubricant is usually soap. You just use soap. Apply soap on the affected part, and then she starts massaging the affected parts. It can be the legs, it can be the thighs, it can be the back, and I get fast relief. Actually, usually when she does me that massage, the next 30 minutes, I've already slept. When I wake up, I'm much better. And then again, you do it again, maybe twice in a day. Like,
what type of soap do you use?
Any soap.
Any soap.
Any soap. It can be bar soap, bathing soap. But that hot water massage helps a lot. First of all, I think it dislodges the sickle cells from the painful parts, and then restores circulation. So you find that I get faster relief.
Yeah. My worst crisis this year was because of a hot shower.
Hot shower.
It made it worse. A lot worse. I had to go to hospital because, first of all, it was dehydrating me. Like, it was easing the pain, but it was dehydrating me a lot. So I had to go to hospital, get IV fluid, rehydrate, and then I could go home. So for me, I'm very skeptical about like sitting in a bathtub or taking a hot shower when I'm in a crisis. I mean, it works for different people, obviously.
What I usually do is all my baths are usually with warm water, but I've not had a problem with that. Actually, if I take a cold bath, I start getting some slight pangs. So bathing, my wife knows I have to take some warm water. But with the pain management, that massage, I found it very useful. Just the affected parts of massage. I even told my wife that maybe let's one day do this thing as a video and then share it with people.
It's a very random question.
And I've seen some people having talk about, I don't know, hot water bottles, I don't know.
Yeah, hot water bottles work for me a lot. Yeah,
for me, I just do the massage, physical massage.
And it works.
And it works.
There's one time I went for a physical
perfected
massage.
The skill so much.
There's one time I went for a physical massage. I had like a minor crisis. Went for a massage. After the massage, I had to go to hospital because it just didn't work. Okay, we have some great questions from our team. Hope you're okay with answering them.
It's okay.
Take us through your journey from when you first discovered about sickle cell until now.
Like I told you before, when I was young, maybe 2-3 years, I was aware already that I get sick. I think you've heard of the hand and foot syndrome. I could get it. And I could get it when the weather is not good. I would get some kind of crisis. Then I would be crying, and as I grew up, my mother told me that, okay, this is sickle cell.
I think to explain to the viewers, foot and hand sickle cell is when your joints swell, especially your feet and your hands. So that's how I got diagnosed at 6 months. My hands were very swollen and in so much pain. And that's how they found out I had sickle cell.
More or less even with the cell. That hand and foot syndrome.
It was disturbing you so much.
So I grew up knowing that I have sickle cell. And like I mentioned earlier on, my parents were helpful, ensuring that whenever I get sick, I see the medics and that kind of thing. And as I grew up, I also got to learn a number of things. One other thing that I found disturbing, if I try to share with someone, it's like they take it or they leave it. I noticed that when I was around 15 years, I got a vaso-occlusive crisis here on the shin. It got so swollen. It got swollen, and it was a vaso-occlusive crisis. It was hot and painful.
Even this one?
This one is more of a mole.
Okay.
Forget about that one. It's that one. As it was swollen, we took some antibiotics. And you know what? It just went back. Eventually, it formed some pus. My dad had to take me to the hospital, and then they incised it, and they found a lot of pus there. And then now we try to get it to heal. But this thing here took 4 years before it healed. It had affected the bone. That's when I had the other incident I was saying that they had to open up the whole leg. It was actually osteomyelitis. And they had to scrap off the dead bone, and it had to heal from down. So after that operation is when it covered up. But between 79 to 83, it would not close up completely. It kept dripping pus. Whenever I could go to the orthopedic, they do an X-ray, say it has affected the bone. But now the thing that I wanted to drive at is that I found a conflict in the use of antibiotics while you're on sickle cell pain. Okay. And even when I go to hospital, for some reason, I think because of we have sickle cell cells dying and so on, it reports a heightened white blood cell count. So the doctors straight away go, they want to give you antibiotics.
Yeah.
And I've come to the conclusion that if you're in sickle cell pain,
swelling.
don't use, only have that swelling, don't use antibiotics. Let the sickle cell pain first heal, is the way the body handles it, and then you introduce your antibiotics. Yeah. So sometimes when I tell people this, they tend not to accept. And even when I tell the doctors that don't put me on antibiotics until I'll get okay, they tend to feel that I'm refusing treatment, which is not the case.
I think in the group, out of 50 of us, about 50 of us, I think I really agree with you because I don't take antibiotics for no reason.
However, antibiotics are good if you don't have sickle cell pain. Just when we're having the Delta COVID, I got infection. They thought it was COVID. They checked me 3 times, PCR test, negative.
This year?
Not
It's
this
been
year.
like 3 months.
Not this year.
Okay, last year.
I think it was the other year.
The year. Okay.
So now, the breathing was even bad. I could not communicate with the doctor. I did not have any sickle cell pain. Whenever I see a doctor, I first tell them that I'm a sickle cell person. Then they get scared. So he wants to do so many things. They say, no, manage this thing. Then they diagnose the thing eventually as bronchopneumonia. And because it was that time of COVID, the doctor saw it good that I should not go in the general ward where there are other COVID people. So they put me on a side room. That was at the Church of England Hospital in Mukono. So I was just in a side room just for 2 nights. They put me on very strong antibiotics. And I started with oxygen. And the next day my breathing was better. And I didn't have any sickle cell pain, but I had a very serious infection and I was treated with antibiotics. And I got well.
I got COVID in the UK last year. I was visiting my sister and I got it before. I got it like in 2020. It was serious for me. Ended up in hospital. But 2022, it was the exact same symptoms. But surprisingly, I didn't go to hospital.
How did you manage?
Painkillers at home.
Just painkiller?
Yeah.
Only.
Only painkillers and water, hydration.
No things like steaming and so on.
Nothing.
Okay.
Yeah, it was very tough. It was very tough. That first time I got it, I was in hospital for 3 months. I was in oxygen. It was a long thing. So I'm really interested in how you and your family, how does the dynamic work? Your wife, you have 2 daughters?
Yeah, 2 daughters and 2 sons.
Your wife wasn't a carrier, luckily?
No, she's AA.
So how do they support you in your day-to-day struggles?
I have a very loving family and I thank God for that. And if I get sick, they get distraught. You see, the mood in the family changes. And what my wife does is what my daughters do. So they're really supportive, like me having meals in time, and then they don't allow me to do heavy work. They do the work and that kind of. And then when I'm sick, they're really supportive. I can be in hospital with my wife. The big girls can bring the meals and whatever we need in hospital and that kind of thing. And they keep in touch. So we're a close-knit family and strong. Yeah.
It amazes me every time we talk about it in the group that you always mention like my sister's here or my daughters are here. And every time you have it hasn't been a lot. It's been like 3 times this year. You've had a crisis. But whenever you mention it, it's inspiring to have people to fall on. Daughters, sons. And I think for a lot of us in the group right now, you've seen, there's a very big discussion about having children or just being single forever. To pass on the gene. Did you ever think about it, or it was just?
No, I'm not getting a family. You know me, I believe, based on, of course, the Bible, marriage is a two-way thing. It's not your own decision. So for example, even when I was considering marriage, I knew that if my partner, the one that I feel I should settle with, is AS, for example, I was ready not to have children. Now, based on that knowledge, I would put it to her. And then, good enough, she turned out to be AA. So, and of course, we wanted to have some children, and we got the children. So yeah, I found myself in such a situation. But it's also good not to have children. And to get the right mate, it really depends on a number of factors.
To be comfortable for life.
Yeah,
right.
To be comfortable for life. You may find that the right partner for you is actually AS or even SS. Now you have to contend with those issues, not pass it on. So for me, I was looking at that. You can't say that, okay, no, I don't want to have I don't have children when you're not yet married. It's something that you have to decide. It's a two-way thing. You have to decide with your mate. Yeah. So that was my perspective from the very beginning. And of course,
I rolled my eyes.
God has blessed me with these children, and of course, it comes with the responsibility.
Yeah.
And that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And more or less, we do things as a family all the time. Be it like our Christian obligations, be it like the going to preach, be it like our weekly meetings, we do it as a family.
From what I hear, you're very religious.
Yeah.
You go to church every Sunday. You told me like tomorrow you're in church the whole day.
Because now like all of them, it's not only the last born, the boy who is not yet baptized, but all are now baptized.
Baptized.
And now, just recently, my son, the third born, he got some responsibility in the congregation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But what age would you tell the kids to have sex? What age would they understand what is sex?
Very young ones may not understand. They just have to know that it's a sickness. But as they grow up and as they start now perceiving, you can now bring up the genetic factor of it, how it is passed on and that kind of thing. And that's usually maybe when they're now able to read, maybe 8 onwards. You can even get material and then go through with them and they're able to understand. It's very, very important that if you have like someone with sickle cell, a child, he needs to understand the things very early. And you have to build hope in them. One thing I've discovered about many warriors, they are like in a state of hopelessness. It should be all the time positive. Have that, because the moment you lose that hope, you are finished. It's like you have usually like saving money. You put aside money, you put in the bank. It's like your security. But the moment that money all runs out, you have nothing again to live for. So it's just like hope also. The moment you lose hope, then it's very bad in their situation. So even when you are in a serious crisis, have hope that this is just something temporary, I'll come through it. And that's how I've managed. I've been through very serious situations, like the one I mentioned, 2015. And of course, also with the reliance of God. In fact, when I passed through 2015, even the brothers had to tell me that was a miracle from God. No. And it's not for everybody. You can't tell somebody that you get HB of 1.4 and then you leave. No. You can get 3, maybe 2, and you're finished. Or 3, you just. So it also depends on God.
This is a very selfish question, but a lot of people that are met with sickle cell don't have a strong faith. For example, I've been in situations in hospital where I'm like, why me? God, why me? How do you deal with that? Like, how do you navigate religion and, I don't know, science, because sickle cell is partially science?
Now it boils down to what I've been explaining about having hope. The hope that I have is based on God. And again, have a strong relationship with God. One thing that I always tell any warrior, recently I was I met a certain doctor there for the first time, and she asked me, how old are you? Actually, my stepmom told me, I'm taking to a doctor, you have never met her. And when she told her that he's 59, she said, wow. So I went and met the doctor. So she was so encouraged to meet a senior sickle cell person. So she organized some kind of a meetup with other patients on the scheduled day of the week. She's a doctor in the hospital there, the local hospital there. So I went there and I talked to these people. But one thing that I pointed out to them, that you have to have hope, and you have to know that the struggle is not yours alone. I don't care whether you are Muslim, whether you are Christian or Hindu, but pray. Pray to that God there. It gives you the motivation. You know that it's God now is fighting for you. And that's how I am. I have a strong relationship with God. Like in 2015, I don't know how strongly I prayed. And I remember when I thought that my life was coming to an end, the next day I was just so calm. I didn't care whether I died or I lived. And when they brought me that you signed this thing, I just signed. I did not really care. And when they discharged me also, I did not even care. I just went back home. But through that whole week, when after the discharge, I was just there at home. And most of the accounts I've shared with you, I got them from my wife. But when it was 1.4, they never told me that they fear that maybe if he knows about it, it may worsen his situation. So they told me afterwards. Even when I was signing the document, I was so weak, even the signature was hazy. But have that strong hope in God. And once you're having that kind of situation, there is no battle that is impossible. But if you're there not having hope, or you don't have someone supernatural to be on your side to fight your battles, then again, that hope is artificial.
I don't want to get too
the moment you give up, if you're having no hope, like once you reach that point where now I give up, then even I think that's when even things like death come in and that kind of.
I don't want to get into like a really philosophical discussion. I've met a lot of people with sickle cell who don't believe in God. And, they're there. What would your advice be to them?
Like they don't believe in God. I respect their position. I may try to bring them my view, but also I know that there is a grand plan for even such people. Based on what I have learned from this book, there's a grand plan for even people which they may not believe if I tell them. So I don't really try to look at them as hopeless. I know that sometimes
the situation they're born into.
Yeah, because me, I believe that in the coming future, I think like sickle cell will no longer be there.
Yeah.
Any sickness, it's promised there in the Bible. Any sickness, be it sickle cell, be it cancer, be it whatever, malaria, it will be a thing of the past. And this is what I believe. And this is the thing that I try to share with such people. Usually I try to give them the view that God is there. They may not believe. And I know it's not only warriors, there are even others. And then there are those ones who have the blame game. They blame God for, they believe that God is there, but then they say, why me? Those ones also are there. But God is, you can't define him, so you may not understand him from the basics. But the best thing is to have a relationship with him. And once he becomes real to you, many of the challenges that you face are just pale into insignificance.
So I guess this is my final question or comment. You're the leader in our group. You're the eldest person in the Warriors Club. A lot of people look up to you. What advice do you have for the rest of us who, I know you've seen messages, people are struggling, people want to end their lives. So what has kept you going besides religion? Like what other things have you thrown yourself into?
You know, it is a bit difficult to say that I put the religious aspect aside.
Completely aside?
Yeah, because it's like part and parcel of me. So you may look at other things that I've done. For example, I mentioned the last 30 years, the time when I stopped schooling, Okay, I tried to upgrade later on, but it didn't go very far. Then I got the family. The thing that has been keeping me going, maybe which I can say is out of religion, is my employment, which I see as if it is also coming to an end. Because at the moment we don't have work where I'm employed. So now I find myself in this situation whereby I'm again defaulting back to my religious aspirations. I go out to preach to people. Weekends, I'm with the family, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Any other pursuits which I try to follow, and with maybe some things that I've learned. Apart from my technical education, okay, this was also a bit technical. I've also developed certain skills in IT, which I do on a personal level. I do people some websites, help them.
Makes you happy?
IT issues and so on. Actually, my job description in latter years, I moved more of an IT at my place. So rather than being so much on buildings, and actually my job description changed to more clerical work and managing the information in the office. Yeah, so basically that. So apart from that, I find pleasure in doing things like the ministry, going out to preach to people. Weekends like today, if I don't come here, I would be there out. Yeah. And nowadays, even with me not so much going to work, I try to help the family on those same issues. Okay, they're busy going to school, but in the evening find something to share, maybe scripture, that we look through the scriptures and that kind of thing. So basically that is it.
I think me personally, and that is amazing that you have 4 children and it's all working out very well. I mean, supposedly very well. I don't think I could have the children. I couldn't have the courage to have children.
Do you follow my status on WhatsApp?
No, I don't, but I should.
I saved your number and I thought you'd be seeing it.
I don't check WhatsApp.
Post.
I will start checking WhatsApp, sorry.
I always post them there. Yeah.
Your children?
Yeah, I always post them.
How old is your oldest?
27.
27? Youngest?
I turned 12 in December.
Amazing. Amazing. I think you've been a huge inspiration in the Warriors Club. We all call you Papa Okurut.
But I think there are even more older warriors. They may not be in the group.
Yeah, they're not in the group yet.
Yeah.
We'll find them.
I met one who was 70 when I was just about...
What?
By the time I was with the Uganda Sickle Cell Association, I met one. By the time I was 70. By that time I was around 35.
This was like 30 years ago.
Yeah. Even he don't. No, he passed away shortly after that. He donated some land to Uganda Sickle Cell Association, some 2 acres of land somewhere in Kawanda. But they fell into funding. They wanted to build a hospital there.
85? 95? 85.
No,
Wait.
that was in...
How old was he?
Was 70 when I met him. That was in around 2001 there. Around the time when we got married. And I'm sure there are other warriors. They may not be in the group.
Yes.
But out there, they're there.
Yes. And we want to find them and we want to get inspiration from them.
There's another group that I belong to. It seems even in that group I'm the eldest. I'm not sure, but I think and maybe the oldest in that group also. There's another group that Abdu Kaizi introduced me to. It's mostly parents, caregivers, and that kind of thing.
We have a caregivers group that you can join if you feel like. There's about 25 people right now, parents, family members, doctors.
I'm okay with joining in the group. You know, it's good for the warriors to see that
People are trying.
fellow warriors can become senior.
Actually, I think you'd be an amazing addition to that group, because most of the discourse in that group is they have children between like 1 and 5, and they're very worried what's going to happen.
Yeah,
And
they
I
need
think
encouragement. Yeah,
they need encouragement.
yeah, they need encouragement.
They need encouragement. So if I have your permission, I can add you to that group today.
It's okay. It's okay. I
Right.
don't mind. That's okay with me. Yeah, it's good to give them encouragement, because even like not that half sister of mine. Now when I started getting to know her, she thought that she was the only one having sickle cell. I said, but in her family, your other sister, the other one, had sickle cell.
Just let's give a brief introduction about your sister. She doesn't live in Uganda.
She doesn't live in Uganda.
She lives in Sweden.
Sweden, yeah.
Sweden. She has lived there for how long?
I don't know, maybe over 10 years.
About 10 years.
I don't know. She's the best who can tell you that.
And she's healthy too. I
Yeah,
mean,
she's healthy, and I don't think she has had even a hip replacement also. And the only, and by the way, she's also married, and she has 2 kids, girls.
That's amazing.
So when I first met her, she thought that she was the only one having sickle cell, and she was saying that Daddy has given her that. I told her no. Daddy brought up us also as sicklers, 2 of your siblings, Stella, whom we lost, and then myself. She thought all along that I was not a warrior. I told her, but I am. Then I started sharing with her things concerning sickle cell and that kind of thing. And then actually she thought also, she had even that idea that you don't live into old age with what? With sickle cell. I said, no, you can live. I even shared with other senior warriors from Facebook and so on.
The oldest person I've found on the internet was 95.
Yeah, I also came
With
across
sickle
someone.
cell.
That's what I'm saying, that people live with sickle cell. And that thing that they don't grow into old age, they don't into adulthood, that's just a myth. It should be removed from these young minds, because they will also limit themselves, and then they think that.
Yeah. Okay. In about 5 sentences, what would you tell our Warriors Club, the members of the Warriors Club right now? Because people are losing hope. We've lost our co-founder Josie. It's taken so long to do conversations again. She was an amazing friend, amazing mentor, sister, daughter, and people have been very discouraged about just what happens. We also lost Stephen Kasule,
Yeah, I remember.
who was
Very
he was a big part of getting the foundation off the ground. He actually introduced me to Josie. So a lot of people in the group are losing hope. What advice would you give them?
You know, we call ourselves warriors, and I think that's a very good thing. You know, warrior, you have a battle, and in battle, some will die, of course, others will carry on the battle. One may fall down. Let's support one another, lift him up and encourage him, and this is what I'm trying to do. We try to uplift our fellow warriors. Let's not give up. Let's not lose hope. In spite of the bad things that we see with our lives as warriors, let's not give up hope. Let's keep it burning. True, we shall lose some of our warriors, but that should not discourage us. And that's why when I joined the group, I said, a luta continua. The struggle continues. So let's continue whatever we can do to help fellow warriors, ourselves, and let's not give up hope. The horizon is bright. And when you look at many of the problems that we're facing, be it stigma, be it medical, we need to break these barriers. We need to have the doctors understand the warrior, how to manage them when they are not well, and that kind of thing. And then we need to have the advantage. Not that when we go to hospital, everything that they tell you to do, you must follow. It's you have rights as a patient. As a warrior, you have rights. You need to stick to your rights and know your limits. They should also know how far they can go. I've faced issues with the medics, and I also try to get the right medication for myself. So let's try to work along that. And then as far as stigma is concerned, just keep moving on. Don't get discouraged about stigma. This one usually can be overturned just by education, letting people know more about the warriors. Yeah. So in short, that's the message I have for my fellow warriors. I love you so much. Let's continue and keep the struggle going.
Thank you, Papa Okurut. Hopefully, we'll have you back whenever you want. It's been very enlightening.
Please keep in touch.
I will. We're always in touch.
Through WhatsApp. I love meeting warriors. Even if I'm in 5 groups, I don't mind. And I don't mind asking me any question, because I may not be able to address issues unless you reach my inbox and ask me specifically.
Thank you so much again. Really appreciate it.
It's my pleasure too. And thanks our team there also. We've done a great job. I appreciate so much.
Team Remark,
It is
Alan, Steven,
Alan and what?
Alan
And
Steven.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.